Hello, it's time for the monthly, well, not really monthly blog anymore, but yeah, big update blog. And I thought I'd try something a little bit different this time because usually it's just a bit of text and a few pictures, but this time I thought, you know what, I'd like to actually show some pictures and, well, not really pictures, but actual folder files and stuff. So we're going to start with my latest thing, which is a complete rework of the Idris map that I made in Blender. It's rendered in Blender Eevee, so it's a little bit faster, but it can work as well in cycles, but it's always going to be slower. So here we go. And it doesn't really look that different, so we're going to just stick with Eevee. So the map itself is in two parts. We have the ocean layer and then the actual terrain layer, which I painted where the ocean would be in blue. So we can see it without the ocean layer there. The textures overall are not final because some of this terrain area, like where it's got jarring black bits, I wasn't 100% sure with what colour I was going to put there, so I've just left it black for now. Probably going to make it like a grey or a white. We'll get there eventually with it, but yeah, that texture is not 100% final. But as you can see, I have completely reworked the terrain because before, with the map, it had a lot of really over amplified parts. So these mountains would have been stupidly high, and a few other areas would have been too deep and would have been below sea level, which made no sense. So, oh yeah, and because of the world developed based on my dreams and stuff, a few things came to light in recent dreams, like there had been a past impact in Idris's ancient history. So there's a big crater here in the ocean, and yeah, there was a couple of other things as well, like this. There was an island up in this corner that I didn't know existed before, but now I do, so it's there. And there was a couple of little islands down here and down here that were made of ice primarily, so I've just left those as big ice chunks. And that this island is not actually attached to here anymore because this is just a giant sheet of ice and the piece broke off. So yeah. Like I say, things constantly changing as I have this world appear in my dreams, so I'm updating this map constantly. But yeah, so this is how it looks without any of the ocean layer in, and then I put a little ocean layer in, which is just a stretched out square with a couple of different materials on it. I think it's only got the one, yeah. So this material is just... It was a noise texture that I'd modified with these parameters, and then I baked the texture and turned it into, you know, a normal bump map. So that's how I got the ocean style rippling that you can see, and then I just put it with higher specular, with a higher, or I should say lower roughness, because if I go higher it goes really smooth and doesn't look quite as watery, I don't think. So if I put the roughness a little bit lower, I keep saying higher, if I put the roughness lower, it sorts itself out. But as you can see, because it's a texture, it's quite pixelated because I have it quite low. But it's not really this map is not intended to be seen this close. It's meant to be seen from about this distance, to give you a rough idea of terrain, elevation in areas. Like before, this area here where Altel is, I mean, I've only done this for the lake, but it's actually a lot bigger than this. This terrain was perfectly flat before, and then it had just a sudden drop, which makes no sense at all, really. So I looked at like how fault lines occur when certain tectonic plates mesh together, and they actually blend upwards and don't have such a sheer drop. So yeah, it's still steep, but it now blends better. And then all this area down here is ice. Some of it is actually with regular like dirt, terrain and stone beneath it, but it's frozen over. You can usually assume that with the way that the terrain is shaped, and there's a few areas where I've left a little bit of the terrain showing, just so you can see this area is frozen over. It's not solid ice, but it'll have solid ice over the top. Whereas down here, this is all solid ice, and these are little islands with a bit of ice on it. So yeah, and you can sort of see the crater underneath this ocean. So yeah, that's one of the things that I've worked on, and you can see the model now on the website and turn it around, but it looks a little bit different to this because of the way the speculars are transferred when they are uploaded to, I think it's GBF or GLB, I can't remember. There was a few other things that were changed today that I want to show, which will be this file here. Is this the experimenting one? Oh, this is the experimenting one, so this one's slightly different to the final models. We should still be on Blender Eevee. Yes, we are. So it's just got to load up a lot of textures, so just give it a moment. It takes a little while because there's a lot of characters here with a lot of textures, and well, not really a lot of textures, but a lot of materials. So then, once they're all loaded in, we should be good to go. Might take a while though. I probably should have loaded this one first. We'll start with the easiest one, which is this car. This car was relatively easy to make. The interior wasn't. I've always struggled with interiors. As you can see, there's no texture on the tires, like for the traction or anything. I'm not sure if I'm going to bother with that, because this car is only ever seen from a distance, and if it is seen up close, you don't see it at tire level. You just see it like from this level here, where the hood of the car is, where the boot of the car is, and the doors. You don't really see the tires up close, so I might not bother. Whereas interior wise, the texture's not very good, but I've tried to make it look like the seats have some wear and tear, some damage, and some stains. The same with the doors, scratches, dents. It's simplistic because I'm trying to think of angles, camera angles, what parts that will you actually see, and obviously you'll have a character in this seat, so you won't see much around here, but there are foot pedals there. And then this scene area, there'll be a character sat here, so you probably won't see much there in this vicinity. Most of the scenes are shot from this angle here, like just from the windshield, so you will see the driver, the passengers, things like that. So that's why I thought, right, most of the detail is going on the seats, because that's where you get the most visibility. But the car as well is rigged, other than the tires. I've not done that yet. So if I go into this mode, this one I believe controls the hood. So if I switch to rotate, yeah, this is the hood. There's nothing under the hood because you will not see what's in there. It's just so that certain scene, I mean, I might put a texture in to make it look like there is, but certain scenes you'll have the character looking into the boot, not the boot, the hood, working on something, and then that will be it. You won't see it from like it just being up. There will always be a character here, so they will block most of this. And then we have also the boot. The boot's the same. It's not fully rigged properly because it's floating, but I will fix that. And again, it's not as detailed, but it's better than the hood, because you know, you might have a character inside the boot for whatever reason. These back doors are fake because that's what the character did. They made it look like it was a 4-door, but it's not. It's just 2 doors. So if we open that, and the doors fully open on both sides like that. Again, they're not fully attached, but it doesn't matter really. You probably won't notice. You mean you'll know now because I've told you. And then most of the scenes with the characters climbing into the back, they usually just climb through the window of the passenger car, so you won't actually see the car seats folding or anything because of the tinted glass. So I'm not bothering with that. So if we reset the pose, oh, that was a rest pose. Oh well, it doesn't matter. We'll move that out of the way. There were characters on one side and then on the other side, so let me quickly explain that. We'll move over to this view now because they've all loaded in. Characters on this side of the car, like this guy over here, are other characters, ones that are not the main cast, but they're still key characters, whereas ones where they're not key characters, they're not main characters, they're background ones, will not be in this file. This is just for main characters and key characters that aren't the main ones. So like this is Dr. Darren, who does the experiment on Tim, so that's why he's here. He'll also be used in the Specimen G13 stuff if I ever get around to doing that. But yeah, we'll get back to these guys over here because he's still being worked on. So yeah, there's Tim in 4 different states. This is the state before he gets experimented on, so there's no scar on the face, there's no tattoo on the chest, he's less buff. This is shortly after, or when he wakes up from his comatose state, so he's got the tattoo on his chest, but he doesn't have the scar yet. Then there's after he's escaped, and he has the scar and he has the tattoo on his chest. And then there's the full adult form over here where he's got the scar and he does have the tattoo on his chest as well, but he's got physics as well on his tie and on the little tassels on the hoodie he's wearing. But because I'm not playing, it's not doing anything. So, and I've probably not baked it yet, which is why it's not working. But there's also physics on the ruined pieces of the genes on all these characters. Because we don't see James, Kyle or Freya between the period where Tim is captured and when he escapes. They all look about the same until they get older. So then we have the adult, or very young adult I should say, ages here. So we have Freya there, Kyle and James as well. And they are slightly different as well in their eyes. So with these eyes, they're just flat colours, they don't glow. Same with Tim here. But after the experiment stuff, they glow slightly. And it's the same for James here and Kyle. But Freya doesn't have it because she's not got the powers, so yeah, they're all fully rigged as well. Toby over here, he doesn't change at all really. and he's got a few different features. I mean, Tim shares one of them, which is he smokes. But Toby also, if I remove his glasses, he's got bloodshot eyes, because yeah, he does. So because this says experimenting on the file, this is because I was learning how to do hair curves like these, and they're really nice, but they don't export to anything, so I have to do a conversion process, which I believe this one I think has. We'll see. No, this is still in the hair curve state. So if I go to modifiers, hair curve profile, that's all the profiles. Yeah, so it's still a hair curve, which, like I say, I can't export and do anything with. Whereas with this, I believe, is the model. Yeah, so this is a mesh where I converted the hair curves into a mesh itself. And as you can see, we lose some of the nice colour detailing in the hair, but it's probably something that I will just have to figure out eventually, or work with it, because like I say, unfortunately, all this lovely hair curve hair, we can't export it to game engines or anything else. It can only work in Blender, which isn't ideal. So that's something else I've been working on. And yeah, I just realised my tongue was out for that whole segment because I've bound the same key that I use to zoom in on Blender. Anyway, no, we won't save that. So that's one of the things that I changed, and there was something else, but it's only in picture form now because that file got corrupted, so unfortunately I can't show that one, which is a shame. But then there's something else I've been working on, which is I wanted to test myself to see if I could do more than just organic characters. So I've gone back to my roots and done some Transformers fan art, and this is a fan character that I made and redesigned. Again, it's fully rigged, so I'll just quickly move some things around. So yeah, arms move, the fingers move, everything moves on this character, its mouth, everything. So yeah, fully rigged. Eyes. These things on the back as well, they move, but I had to change layers, so let me just change the layers. So these are the landing gear, because they turn into like a space fighter jet, and these would fold up, but I've not finished doing the IK rigging, so they don't bend properly at the moment, that is, because they're supposed to fold all the way up like this, neatly tuck away. And it's the same for this one, really. You can pull them and rotate them into the not landing position, but the folded away position. And then the same with the solar panels here. But I've made keyframes, so we'll use the keyframes to show this. So the solar panels can be moved into, this was called the half position, so they're slightly closed, and then we have the neutral position, which is what they're already in. And then when the panels close, I have to make it so that they shrink. And then the back compartment, as you can see, folds up, so when I open it up, they open up as well. And then, yeah, extended pushes them to rotate forwards like this into a full sail. So yeah, that's another thing that I've worked on. It uses the same shaders as well, like I've developed. It's cartoon shader. I don't have a sun in this scene, so let me just quickly add a sun. And that way you can see the shading like that. So fully shaded, nice cartoony. We won't save that. In terms of other things, I have done a lot with the Specimen G13 characters. So rather than showing the full models for each one, let me open this file up. And he's naked. Lovely. So for some reason that's not worked. Why is that not worked? There we go. So these are posed, pre-posed models, so the rig doesn't really work as it should anymore, because the characters are posed for using on the website, which I'll show in a moment. They go in these poses, I apply all the modifiers so they stick to this pose permanently, and then they get exported. So we have other characters as well that have the same treatment, I believe. Is this one done? I think this one is. Yep, this one is an example. So there is no more armature, there are no other modifiers on the model, and all the original cartoon shaders are gone because they do not export to the format that's needed. It has to be a principled BSDF. So yeah, this model's exactly as it looks on the site, although it has a little bit slightly different specular, because again, I do not know why, but it does. I think we have one more character, this one. So yeah, this one was extremely tricky because, like I showed with the hair curves on Tim, they cannot be exported, so that included the fur on this character, and I had to make them into meshes, and with them being made into meshes, they lose the properties I needed for the texture appliance. So originally, you can see just underneath here there are stripes already on the base mesh of the tail, and those would have translated to the little cones for the fur. So like if this cone was over a piece of the stripes, it would turn black, and it did that automatically when there were curves, but when they were turned into meshes they no longer could do that. So I've had to just quickly slap some stripes on each triangle, which doesn't look as nice, but it's okay, I suppose. But yeah, these all available to see on the website as well. So let me just open up the website now, and then we will pop over there while I just sort this out, because I have a lot of pages open. So and that's still Blender. I failed. There we go. So on the website, if you go to what's called the ZuW project and scroll down to notable characters and give it just a moment, it should show a little loading bar above where each model will be. But yeah, the models will appear in these little slots, and you can rotate them around and zoom in, but they're still limited. You can't click and drag basically to pan to different areas. I'm still figuring things out, but each character is being slowly uploaded to their little profile page, and as you can see, like in the hair, the specular is inconsistent with the original model when they have the cartoon shaders, so they're extremely shiny looking here. And then we have this one, which it sort of retains some of the metallic specular, but it doesn't retain it very well, and you lose a lot of the glow, obviously. But yeah, there's a couple of characters up at the moment. I tried to pose them similar to how they looked with the original artwork that I'd shared on the site before. But we'll be adding more characters in the future and tweaking this page. That's why it still says it's a work in progress. But there's also something new that I added. If you go to the ZuW project again, you'll see a new entry, which is the 3D Idris guide. This is still a work in progress as well. It just gives you a rough guide basically to like what the Idris compendium does, but it's extremely basic. Couple of pieces of artwork from the book is in there, and a couple of pieces of artwork that aren't in the book are here as well. And then this is the 3D map that I just showed, so you can see it here, but like I said, the specular's messed up, so for some reason the terrain is shiny as well, and I'm not sure how to fix that. I googled it and I don't know. But yeah, this is so you can see the map in all of its shiny glory. And then obviously we have the original map here, which I'm not changing because this is how it looked when I originally dreamt it, because it looked like this in the book that the dream version of me was given. So I'm just saying this is drawn by one of the first settlers, so that's why it looks different to the actual map, because the settlers didn't see this corner of the world or this corner, and they didn't really know that this was just a giant ice patch that would melt away or disappear. So yeah, I'm slowly adding things here. You can also do a preview read of the Idris compendium here. So you can scroll through. It should take you a few clicks because of how compact it is. But you can see all the chapters. You can start reading. Obviously the pages, the title pages are artwork. In some of the printed copies as well, this is all with like graphic on the back, and there's pictures as well, you know, to show things like, oh, this is a security personnel's ID, and so on. And you can read quite a substantial amount of the book before the preview runs out. So yeah, that's the end of the preview. So yeah, that's that part of the blog sorted. So there was only, I think, one other thing that I'd done Let me see if I can actually find it in the mess of things I have. It's in my file browser. But yeah, there's lots of projects going on at the same time. I'm working on them in alternating patterns so that I don't get bored of them. So they will get done, they just might take a while. Original works, here we go. So we want to go to here, and then we want to go to here, and there. So if I open this, and then I can do this. So this is just showing the whole thing there. So this is the entire folder. It is extremely messy. And then why Microsoft no do the thing? So unfortunately Microsoft no do the thing. Right, so we're gonna have to do this way, unfortunately, and I will post the pictures on the website instead. So we have in here a lot of old videos, a lot of old artwork, but this picture is what I really wanted to show, but it's just for some reason is not playing ball. It just goes black. I don't know why. But yeah, it's not working, which sucks. So until I can figure that out, I'll have to create a new source, I imagine. Let me just quickly do that, image source. And then we'll just take it from the same place and hope for the best. Yeah. Here's the folder, here's the picture. That works for now. So yeah, on the right is the original concept art that I did for the Subject to 18 book, and then on the left was my first attempt at doing models of the characters and mimicking the book cover, which wasn't too bad, you know, it was a good attempt. I believe the models were made... When were the models made? They were made in 2021, so they were only 2 years old. But the polygon count was really high, and the overall quality of some of the parts of the models were not fantastic. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna redo these as a break from working on the Specimen G13 stuff, and that's exactly what I did. And then I thought, right, I'm gonna redo the pose as well, and you know, and see how that turns out. And then I came up and did this one. So this one is better quality. I mean, they're still in the old outfits, so they're not the best quality looking. They have new outfits now, but in this picture they are using the old ones. And I thought, you know what, rather than just doing a direct copy of the old poses, I thought, right, I'll do some slight tweaks so you can see a bit more of how the characters actually are, and rather than them being just a bit static. So you've got the likes of James looking a bit arrogant, and Kyle looking a bit concerned, and Tim looking angry, as he usually does. And then I did a few more experiments with the characters. These are big pictures, by the way. Some of these are very big pictures. So these are using still the old outfits, and some of the assets in the background I got from Kitbash, and a couple of the other ones I did. I was just mainly experimenting with the lighting, and I quite like how my shaders have turned out, because the models in the background, I didn't apply my shader to those, but the shader that I'm using for the world also impacts things that are in the world. So while the shader that I've made works really well with the characters, the backgrounds, applying that same shader to objects in the background did not look right. They looked too bold, and most of the characters got lost in it. So I just applied the shader to the world, and I got these results, which I think looks semi-anime-ish. So I'm going to keep this. And then I did a recreation. Here we go. So these are the new outfit tweaks. As you can see on the left, this is the old outfit. Very messy, high polygon count, not the best textures. And then on the right is the new outfit, which is a lot cleaner. The normals look better on it. I still added some like dirtiness to the bottom of his trousers, so they look like they'd been used a lot. And the gloves especially fit a lot better, because the gloves on the old models were so chunky that if I bent a finger, the the gloves would clip into the hand, which wasn't very good. And I'd also updated the outfits for Kyle and James, although it's only slightly. So James actually is using the exact same hoodie, but his gloves and his trousers and his shoes are new. Kyle has completely new outfit. And then I did a little bit of playing around. So this is a recreation of a scene from the comic of Toby. After James was concerned about getting in the car because Toby had been smoking and drinking. So if I can find, here it is. This is the image that I did with the new models. No, it's very, very big. Big image. I forgot how big this was. I don't want that to disappear. So yeah, this is the actual comic image that I did. I will do a comparison on the website, by the way. So yeah, you can see there. Let me center it a bit more there. So yeah, that's the that's the original comic image, and just for the sake of comparison, boom, there's the 3D model one. So yeah, been working quite a lot on those. And will I actually be using the models for this purpose? Possibly, maybe, I don't know. But there's still a lot of work to do. Like I have here the adult characters in a scene that's an old rendering engine one. So if you're curious, I'll open it. And hopefully it won't crash, because this used to use cycles and their poly counts were stupidly high. And certain textures have broken as well. Yeah, as you can see, they've changed quite a lot. This was how the hair used to look. It was very high poly and not fantastic. But yeah, that's how they used to look. Hold on a minute, it's not changed. There we go. Right, so yeah, as you can see, don't look very great. I mean, they were alright for when I made them, don't get me wrong, but hair is high poly and very messy looking, and yeah, the texture's all broke, because that would have been a faux window that looked into that building there, but it doesn't work, and Tim's cigarette is in his leg for some reason. I don't know. I don't understand. But yeah, that's that one. So yeah, that's a video just previewing basically what I've been working on, some old stuff as well in there. I don't intend to do this type of thing for each update, but I thought, you know what, this time I'll make an exception. So yeah, I look forward to continuing to work on this, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.